Oh, first things first. Good morning, everyone. Have a happy Saturday. I was actually kind of thinking, because technically I've eluded this sort of thing, many times in the past, like since actually March of 2018, and I'll be into why momentarily. Where, I have sort of talked about this a lot as of late, and, I couldn't have been an adult without first being a kid first, and, being a kid, you've had to have at least eaten growing up to at least made it this far in life. So, I figured I would create a new series of videos. I'm calling this the Mom Food Chronicles. Sounds funny, huh? So, before I begin, let's lay down a few sort of rules as to what this is. Because, growing up, for the most part, I'm sure we've all had stuff like McDonald's or, pizza or, ice cream, like stuff like that. And nothing wrong with that at all, that stuff is fine. But when I say mom food, what I'm genuinely referring to is the stuff that you had growing up that, for the most part, because not every home cook can make everything from scratch, was homemade. Like, maybe, and I say mom when really it could be, your mother, your father, perhaps maybe an older sibling, an older adult figure perhaps, maybe a guardian, someone that you, for better or for worse, looked up to. What did I say for better or for worse? What I mean is, for the most part, you looked up to, they cooked you, they cooked you food growing up, and, you just sort of, you grew up, you remember that stuff for the rest of your life, and maybe you cook some of that stuff yourself, who knows? So, I think what I'll do is, and I don't think I'll make these videos every day. At least not now. But, the first thing I guess I could talk about is I will talk about the mom food staples that I've already talked about, because even though I have mentioned them, I could go into more elaborate detail. So what I'll do is I will talk about the stuff I have talked about in the past and get in better detail. And then as we move forward, we'll be able to have, more stuff. Because don't worry, there's actually a lot of it. So, let's talk about the very first thing I did talk about way back in March of 2018. Yeah, I remember. Listen, when you do videos for this long, for the most part, like, what you've talked about in the past. And, I can't remember the specific day I talked about this. How about I talk about a mom food that I not only grew up with, but believe it or not, my father grew up with as well. And to put it simply, it's peas. You're probably thinking, what's so special about peas? Well, for starters, again, the other day I mentioned that growing up, I absolutely not hated, but I got really sick of having green beans. I had them a lot, probably a lot more often than I should. I think I probably had like 4 out of 5 nights at one point, whether they were canned, frozen, fresh, all that stuff. Now, the fact that I was growing sick of green beans, and the fact that one vegetable I think everyone's had that they all love is corn, in spite of some of the jokes people have actually made with corn. But let's be honest, corn is delicious. We all know this. So, the fact that I look at peas, which look like, you have like the best from one world and the worst of the other. The fact that, for the most part, peas can be considered the size of corn kernels. And, they're green, just like green beans. Needless to say, I wasn't really turned on by them. But eventually, and here's why. Because I actually first tried this iteration of Mom Food first. And that's ultimately one of the reasons why I didn't really like it. When I had peas, as they were 100 times better. And keep in mind, I'm still a kid. I'm trying to evolve my palate a little bit. So, you gotta make sure that you, try a small little bit of it before, you're ready to move on to the good stuff. And this is really good stuff, I have to say. Now, I should iterate right now. Yes, they are peas. Yes, they are a vegetable, a very starchy vegetable. But what I'm about to tell you what this mom dish was probably will sound like the most unhealthy thing ever. So, what my father had growing up, and this is what my mother's done for him for a long time, is she would take a can of peas. Really, any kind of canned peas will do. Any brand will be fine. It's canned peas. It's about as harmless as it gets. She would pour the contents, after draining the can, she would pour the contents of the peas into a little bowl. She would then proceed to put in butter and some sort of dairy item, possibly heavy cream or half and half, or just straight up milk. Put that in the microwave and let that cook. If you're wondering, that sounds not very, healthy. Really, it isn't. In fact, it's about, in fact, I actually did try making this myself a while back, and it's delicious, but yes, it is extremely unhealthy. And I think when I made it, I actually used frozen peas when I did it once. Since I lived here, by the way, I actually tried doing it the original way, and the original way is better. And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out why the original way is better. And I think now I've only just realized that whenever my father had this dish growing up, and whenever my mother made this for us growing up, she would use canned peas. Something about, canned peas being in a can, obviously there's going to be water in there because they said you got to drain the can. Something about them makes the peas I think it makes them softer, maybe. Maybe that's what it is. It makes the texture softer, so, the butter and, the milk can sort of, penetrate through the peas, whatever that is. Oh, man, that's a good time. It's incredibly indulgent, and honestly, if you really are, on a health kick, I would not necessarily recommend having this. But if you do ever try it, actually, here's the thing. Really, again, any kind of peas will work. It's just, I found that for me, the soft texture you get from canned peas just happen to be a little bit better. Not by a lot, though. You could use frozen peas, which is what I've used. If you can get your hands on fresh peas, that works. And yeah, it's good. If you're I guess parents, if you're having trouble getting your kids to try vegetables, it may not be the most healthy way, but if you have your kids try maybe a small amount of that probably works. Children are our future, So yeah, those were that was the dish. I honestly don't really know what to name it. What do I call that dish? Quite interesting. I don't really know. Well, considering that my father had this growing up as well, and he even made sure that my grandmother told my mom how to make it, you know, why just call them daddy's peas? Yeah, you know, I'm not gonna, that's probably the first time I've said daddy in a long time. I mean, here's the thing, growing up, like, yeah, if you're like under the age of like 7 or something like that, like you're young, calling your dad daddy, that's fine. But it comes to the point where, you know, when I'm referring to my father in like the third person, it's going to be my father or dad or old man. Hey, listen, if I'm 30 years old, how old do you think that makes him? For the record, he was 30 when I was born too. So, yeah, he's old. No two ways around it. But, hold on. Had to knock on wood right there. Anyway, it's actually quite interesting. I did talk about this way back when I started doing videos, because when I first did that video, my father was actually quite ill. I mean, it's been a couple of years, I'm sure. I mean, I doubt he's ever going to see this, so it's fine. Basically, he and my mother were coming back from a trip from Rome, because they always want to go. And somewhere along the way, he ended up getting like pneumonia, which ultimately caused sort of a staph infection. He was actually pretty close to being septic. He had spent 2 weeks in the hospital. Actually, 16 days in the hospital. Half of that time, literally 8 days, was in the ICU. It was pretty serious. But, you know, he managed to get out of there. You know, he's doing well. Hold on. I'll make sure I knock on wood again for that. And, yeah. Now, he's not only doing well, but he's also a grandfather. So, it's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet. Huh. You know, full disclosure, with everything going on lately, you know, there was some things that I was actually going to miss out on. And to be honest, after I do this video, I'm going to be in the city of Corning for the most part all day today. Today was actually supposed to be the day the Peas Macarons was supposed to be open. And I was going to completely miss it. Now, don't get me wrong, I am absolutely devastated that they couldn't open today. Because I actually know the people who own that store very well, and they were really looking forward to this. And I'm most likely sure that the actual owner is feeling pretty down today. But, you know, we'll get through this. You know, again, we're already in April. I mean, this whole thing started like way back in arguably late February. So it's already been a month. So we'll just take, you know, one day at a time. Shouldn't be that bad. Plus, you know, the owner of Peas Macarons is a mother herself, so maybe she could try making the peas for her kids. Huh? That'd be kind of funny, right? I mean, I'm sure she could probably pull it off. Why not? It's literally just like peas, butter, and milk. It's about as simple as like, she probably has like, these are pantry ingredients. These are probably like refrigerator and Actually, you actually can find them all in the refrigerator. These are refrigerator ingredients you most likely have already. So, go ahead and give it a try. Again, I don't know if I'll make the whole Mom Food Chronicles a thing. I just wanted to at least talk about it. I think I will. I actually need to go back to a lot of videos to see what I've talked about in the past, but we'll see. If this turns out well, I'll do a Mom Food Chronicles. Why not? Should be interesting. Get some laughs, get some good stories along the way. And if any of you guys want to try making it home, follow me on social media platforms, take pictures of it. I'd love to see it. That'd be pretty cool, right? So, yeah. Like, favorite, share, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on social media platforms, like I said earlier. Feel free to comment if you like. I'm very humble. I made this video for all of you guys watching. Enjoy for today, and hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. Remember, if you guys want to talk with channels, you need to learn, always ever back. Take care and make good choices. See ya.